Welcome everyone to the 5th round of the Unlimited Racing 2D Championship Season 3. Today we're here at Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, where we enter the race weekend with Charles Leclerc leading the championship. He has a 5-point lead to Lando Norris, who's been up there all season long. George Russell is third in the standing with Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Sergio Perez, and even to some extent Alexander Albon, all wanting to cause a surprise. Alex Lynn, Max Verstappen and Esteban Ocon in the midfield, with Lewis Hamilton really struggling this year going into his home Grand Prix. Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen, two Ferraris, having a much better year this year. Mick Schumacher struggling a little bit, as Haas falling back a little bit. AlphaTauri, they've stayed the same, and Red Bull, it's hard to tell whether they've improved slightly or not. Anyways, let's get into the weekend. My favourite for this poll, I'm saying George Russell. The home crowd, I think it will give him extra strength. However, there was rain a few hours ago, and so the track is still fairly damp. Wow, Alex Lynn though, P2 already. George Russell though has been flawless so far. We know when he gets pole, he does like to, dominate the race and take the win. It looks like George Russell will be taking another pole position. This one though, much more dominant than ones in the past. Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon though, making use of those upgrades. Second and third. Lando Norris P4, both Alfa Romeos, 5th and 6th. Charles Leclerc, that's only good enough for P7. With Alex Albon, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton rounding off the top 10. Mick Schumacher P11, Max Verstappen P12. What are we witnessing? Then from there on, it's Noah's Ark order. Haas, Ferrari, Red Bull, then AlphaTauri, with Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, and Stroll leading those teams respectively. Ooh, the track is all damp. Lights out and away we go here at Silverstone. It's a good start from George Russell. He manages to cover off Pierre Gasly, but for how long? Gasly now has taken the lead of the Grand Prix. Pierre Gasly leads going into Brooklands and Loffield. Now it's that quick run down into Copse Corner. Pierre Gasly has the lead. Esteban Ocon makes it Mercedes 1-2. Now going through Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel. Russell coming back at them and makes the move for the lead. What a first lap that was. Whilst that was all happening though, Carlos Sainz, he was making some, inroads. He's now sitting pretty in P3. Lando Norris though, this year he is in such an awkward position. If McLaren do upgrade the car, honestly I don't think, they might take 1 or 2 wins, but I think Alpine are still the dominant force, which is risky, to upgrade the car, because then obviously money for next year will be less, as Lando Norris drives around the outside of Esteban Ocon. He's going to try and fight his way into Stowe. He still has it going into the Vale chicane. Lando Norris now has P2. But yeah, that's the awkward position Lando's in. His best bet, I think, is for next season, season 4. Further down in the grid, it looks like Charles Leclerc has been making some progress. He's gone from P7 to P5, P4 now. Leclerc though is gaining on Ocon. They can't make the move work. I think next lap it will be good enough for the dry tyres. Leclerc though is going to try go around the outside of Ocon, makes the move work. What an overtake from Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris is next on his radar. Lando Norris should have Charles Leclerc covered. Ooh, really good defense from Lando. How's Leclerc got so much earth to use though? Norris is gonna make move. No, doesn't make a stick. It's an Alpine 1-2 for now. Russell leading Leclerc. Norris P3 with both Mercedes behind. The track is dry enough. Soft, soft, hard, hard. That's how it is. Leclerc could actually win this race, you know. Qualifying was abysmal for him. But he has some real pace as the Mercedes fighting over 4th and 5th. Esteban Ocon's got a really good run on Lando Norris coming out of Copse. And at the end of Chapel, he's sitting in P3. But for how long? Norris is going to go down the inside, going into Stowe corner. Lando Norris takes P3 back. I just feel like though for Mercedes to start challenging for titles, they just need one, you know, there's one thing that's missing. It's not too big. I think it's just driver mentality really. I think the car is, you know, easily in the top 4 best cars on the grid. Which is crazy to think after their season, what was it? 2 seasons ago, you know, 2 years ago. In season 1 where they finished P9. You know, second from last in the championship. If you want to know who won that championship, it was AlphaTauri, who now have Lance Stroll and Nikita Mazepin. They won the constructors. Lewis Hamilton was driving the car back then, before he made his record-breaking move to, well, they were called Racing Point back then, but now Force India. Any drivers in? We see an Alpine. I think that's Charles Leclerc. Leclerc's in and Alexander Albon. They've both pitted. Leclerc's going to come out behind Pierre Gasly. But for how long? No. I thought it was going to get him down the Wellington Straight. Instead, Sainz goes slightly wide. Going into Copse. Sainz goes slightly wide again, but this time round the outside. What a move! But remember, Charles Leclerc pitted for softs. And now rain is predicted to be on its way. This British weather just keeps on changing. So Leclerc, who had just pitted a lap ago, has messed up his race. He was running P2. Now he's fallen all those positions and he is leading the championship, let's not forget. However, the top 2, it looks like we may have, you know, a Brit 1-2 on the podium in Britain. George Russell and Lando Norris could win. Could be on the podium, sorry. Obviously Russell with the win and Lando with the P2. Imagine that. England 1-2. The fans would go mental. Pierre Gasly though running in a very good P3. There's Charles Leclerc though, making the move on Esteban Ocon. Leclerc makes the move stick. Lando Norris though, he's getting hunted by Pierre Gasly. I think it's because of traffic, which really did not help his cause. Pierre Gasly, he's managed to arrive at the traffic at a better time on the track. But the gap between Gasly and Norris, about a second. Don't rule out Leclerc as well. Leclerc wants a podium. He knows that he is the one in this championship fight. You know, he's the championship leader. So obviously he knows what he has to do. I mean, what's crazy this year is that we've not had, one driver just to lead, 2 races in a row, the championship. Race 1 it was Russell. Race 2 it was Norris. Race 3, I think it was Russell again. Race 4, Leclerc. Talking about Leclerc, he's managed to arrive at Pierre Gasly, and now he's managed to get the move on Pierre Gasly. Charles Leclerc takes P3, and P2 is not too far away as well. Lando Norris may be in a bit of danger. His wet tires are beginning to die. Ricciardo is pitting. One of the backmarkers. He may give a lot of information to the top team, Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo is on the softs. Daniel Ricciardo is on the softs. That's a really brave call. The top teams will be watching his lap times. I think George Russell will pit now. George Russell surely has to pit for the dry tyres, whether he likes it or not. Kevin Magnussen kept on going. Lando Norris is in. Leclerc also with Gasly. All of the drivers now are coming in for the soft tyres, so this is going to be a sprint. A 2-lap sprint race. Look how close though Gasly is to Charles Leclerc. The new tyres though, giving the drivers much, restored grip and speed. Pierre Gasly is gaining on Leclerc, but he can't make anything of it. Going on to the final lap though, it looks like George Russell is going to take the win. Mick Schumacher making it hard for him to lap him. Lando Norris though, he's driven a brilliant race from start to finish. And a very well deserved P2. It's been a while since he was last on the podium. Been a long while. But there's our race winner. George Russell wins at home. He wins at Silverstone. Lando Norris taking P2, a well-deserved P2. Charles Leclerc, that was a tricky race from him, but he pulled through and managed to take home a podium. Big for his championship. Pierre Gasly, P4 with Esteban Ocon, P5. Good weekend for Mercedes. Carlos Sainz, P6 with Alexander Albon, P7. Alex Lynn, P8 with Max Verstappen, P9. And P10 being Sergio Perez. P11 Yuki Tsunoda, P12 Lewis Hamilton. P13 Mick Schumacher, P14 being Callum Ilott, P15 P16 Hulkenberg and Magnussen, P17 being Lance Stroll, P18 and 19th. A bad weekend for Red Bull, with Nikita Mazepin last. This is how the championship looks like now. Look at the gap between the top 3. Russell leads Leclerc by 1 point. Leclerc in front of Norris by 2. Norris behind Russell by 3 points. That is so close. The top 3 is so close. Then further back behind, Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz. 1 point separates those two. With Perez now beginning just to, go back up in the championship standings. Alex Albon 7th, Verstappen, he is P8, Alex Lynn P9, Esteban Ocon P10, P11 Lewis Hamilton. Difficult season for him, maybe even be his last. Nico Hulkenberg 12th, Mick Schumacher 13th, Daniel Ricciardo 14th, Callum Ilott 15th, Kevin Magnussen 16th, Yuki Tsunoda 17th, Lance Stroll 18th, Valtteri Bottas 19th, and Nikita Mazepin 20th. Teams wise, it looks like this. Alpine 243 points with McLaren's 192. Now this is where the battle gets really close between Alfa Romeo and Mercedes. 1 point separates them. Williams and Force India, 4 points separates them with Ferrari. Whether it's hard to tell whether they'll get, challenged with by Haas. I guess only time will tell. The Red Bull in front of AlphaTauri. Thank you everyone for joining me for the 5th round of the season. Next time out, we'll be at Assen for the Dutch Grand Prix. Can't wait to see you there. Thank you and goodbye.